program that you have to be able to figure out whether it will go on the right lines, where the people will end up in a situation where they can be able to really control themselves. You understand what I'm saying? With no education, the people take this local foundation and start stealing money because they won't be really educated to why it's the people's thing anyway. You understand what I'm saying? With no education, you have neo-colonialism instead of colonialism, like you got in Africa 9, like you got in Haiti. So what we're talking about is there has to be educational program. That's very important. As a matter of fact, it's so important for us that a person has to go through 6 weeks of our political education before he can consider himself a member of the party, able to even run down ideology for the party. Why? Because if they don't have an education, then they're nowhere. You dig what I'm saying? They're nowhere because they don't even know why they're doing what they're doing. You might get people caught up in the emotionalist movement. You understand me? You might get them caught up in because they're poor and they want something. And then if they're not educated, they want more. And before you know it, they'll be capitalists. And before you know it, we have Negro imperialists.
So that was Fred Hampton. In kind of like diving into the whole look of Black Panther Party, I was kind of taken back by just him. I think it was the movie that got me into just studying. What was it? I think it was like Judas and the Black Jesus or something like that. That came out a few years ago. They got me into really looking into Fred Hampton, and I just wanted to scrub through like a lot of the videos, and I always found that one particular thing amazing.
Let me give you an example.
In a sense, it was just the concept that you can't have a revolution without education. The concept that you can't just change without educating the population. Because in the end, you're just putting them through new slavery. And in a way, this is a weird way to start off Babbling Zoom. Let's talk about why we're talking about this for a second. This is a knockoff version of Song of the South. I found it in a dollar store on the bottom, and I was like, "Whoa, what is this?" And I thought it would be something new, but I realized it's just a knockoff, nothing special. It's got the deluxe version. That's awesome. Um, and it's got a lot of really interesting extras in this, which is why it's the deluxe version. For those who don't know, this is the Disney movie. Disney. This is the Walt Disney movie. They're very different distinction. Um, about a young boy who ends up going to a plantation. And here's the stories of Uncle Ruckus. This movie won awards until we started really reinterpreting it differently, and then became shelved forever in the Disney vault. And from here on in, no one ever wants to talk about this. When they talk about this, they don't talk about Uncle Ruckus. They talk about the South. This is up there with Gone with the Wind, but for some reason, Gone with the Wind is still allowed to be shown. This is permanently shelved because we don't actually know anything about this. So this is one of those things that nowadays we can't talk about it. And if you've been looking at the news recently, let me screen share, which helps. A few days ago, a few days ago, Splash Mountain, the ride associated with this movie, was closed. What they're going to do is take all of it, redesign it around the Princess Frog, which I understand they wanted to change it and update the mountain to reflect Black culture. And in doing so, they chose the most mediocre movie with the only Black non-princess turning princess ever. So I'm not really that happy about it. So here's why this fascinates me. So one of the coolest things about this video, and I wish everyone had a chance to actually listen to it, is there's a lot of extras on this, and I don't think it's in here. No, I had a chance to actually listen to it. So one of the things in here is actually an interview with Walt Disney himself, an audio interview. So radio posts and everything. You got the whole like cuts to like other songs where they cut out the song, but they cut back to talking to everyone and even the actors and the actresses and stuff. I don't think Remus is actually in there to talk to. If I remember, the kids are in there to definitely talk to. It's very of the time. But what's very interesting about this is the reasoning behind this movie in the first place. The story of Uncle Remus is the story of Black slave folk stories. Brother Bear, Brother Rabbit, Bro Fox are all fairy tales of Black slavery. This is a love letter to Black slave stories, to fables, to lessons, and what to live by. Walt Disney grew up listening to these books time and time again. And yes, what came about, like how the books came about, was kind of deceptive. Kind of like if you look at the concept of, Elvis Presley, if you don't know the history, then you'll look at it as a man who stole history. With Uncle Remus, it's a collection of different people that actually lived and walked around and told stories. Free men that went to plantations and told stories to the enslaved. A white man came by. I can't remember his name. Documented. I'll probably put a link on the bottom to so you guys know the more of the history of that. But he came about, and out of the time, let's be honest here, majority of Southern, and we're talking Southern, the majority of Southern Blacks weren't able to read and write. And this is a time of oral storytelling, oral fables, oral history, all that stuff. So that man came about and wrote all these stories and put it in a huge collection. Fables of Uncle Remus, right? Or that's not the title, but basically that's how Uncle Remus became Uncle Remus. It's a collection of different Black free men who came around and told stories to the enslaved. Disney wanted to represent this. He wanted to have Black representation in the, when was this made? In the 40s. This is 42, right? In 42. Oh, sorry, in 46, 1946. He wanted Black representation. And in doing so, he also wanted to experiment on a new technique of art, of animation, blending real people with animation. This is kind of the beginning of that as well. This is a first for a lot. But also, this is also a first. So this is a movie dedicated to Black folktales, Black slave folktales. So African American, if you want to go by that term, tales of words and stories that Black slaves grew up with. Sharing again. This also introduced James Baskett and actually other actors and actresses of this time. Basket ended up getting an award. All right. So if I go to the wiki, because I'm going to the wiki. So he also got an Academy honorary award for playing his part. This is the first Black person to get this award, Academy Award, right? The first Black actor to get an Academy Award, because Walt Disney wanted to represent Black history. Now, did he do it in a really bad way? Possibly. Because let's be real, this came out at a time when Song of the South, not Song of the South, this came out at a time when um, Gone with the Wind was coming out. A whole bunch of other movies were coming out. So how they wanted to perceive the South was kind of impossible, or it was kind of maybe ingrained on how they showed the South. Maybe that's it. Maybe the situation was it was of a time. But to mistaken this movie, or to compare it to Gone with the Wind is a grave mistake. I don't have Gone with the Wind because, again, that's a whole message about someone trying to preserve the way of the South, the way the Southern people are. This is a song about the people who tried to survive. Yes, in the end, it really did portray free people with the being accepting of the plantation owners, and it is kind of wrong, but it didn't show any type of animosity as well. If Disney wanted to do something about that mountain, instead of wasting God knows how much money, millions, billions, whatever, to refit the mountain for a movie that's kind of half baked, they just put a. Here's the thing: they're going to change this entire mountain to put the veneer of look, we care about Black people, where they took an old European book, your old European folktale, and then just put Black veneer on it. Just here's some Blackness on it. Boom. That's what they're doing. We repurposed a European song, put a Black person in it, put it in Louisiana. Boom. Aren't you proud of us? No, I'm not proud of you. This started with love for Black people. And it came out kind of bad, but at least it started with the love, not appeasing to the masses. So what should be happening, and I know it's not, is what I think Disney should revisit this and redo it in honor of what Walt Disney wanted it to be, not what we all perceive it to be. So why did I start with Fred Hampton? Because it's best to educate if we want to change minds. If we want revolution, we have to educate the people on what the past was, instead of listening to the random minds that don't know what they're saying. Disney, if you're listening, Bob Iger, if you're listening, this is a time to resurrect this. This is a time to go back and fix the mistake, not hide it. Got it? Good. Well, this is going nowhere, and my phone's ringing, so bye.